So in this video, I want to talk about one of the exact same example as last time, but another way to approach it. And let's review our solution for it. They are formed by two steps. And in step one, we need to find the value of a and b, which are a coefficient of the a and b, which are a coefficient of the x terms. And in the second step, we need to always remember that if there are two unknown variables, we need at least two equations. The reason is because let's say there is an equation a plus b and that is equal to 100. We want to find the exact value of a, but we cannot find it because there are two unknown variables unless there is one more equation. And at first, let's bring our whole information down. And at first, the information that they gave was a plus b is equal to 12. So a plus b, that is equal to 12. And we need at least two equations to solve this a and a b, but we have it. In the second step, we know that ax minus 7 times bx plus 9, and that is equal to 35x squared plus yx minus 63. And we can see that according to a binomial theorem, if we multiply a and a b, we will going to get 35. So we can write that in step 3 that a times b, and that is equal to 35, which means a and a b are a factor of 35. And now we can bring our whole information that are given in a one step. So we can just write in the fourth step that a plus b is equal to 12, and then a times b is equal to 35. And now what I'm going to do is that isolate one unknown variable and input the value to other equation to find a exact value. So at first, let's use addition one first. I will isolate a, which is in the step 5. So a is equal to 12 minus b. We got an exact value of a. We can input it to our equation. Instead of this a, we can input 12 minus b, which will going to be 12 minus b times b is equal to 35. Now we can use distribute property in order to cancel out this parenthesis. And now we get, in the step 7, 12b minus b squared, and that is equal to 35. And now if you look at our equation, we can see that it's a quadratic after we saw a biggest exponent is 2. And we need to convert that into a quadratic, but basic quadratic form is ax squared plus bx plus c, where c is just a constant in this case, 35. b is a coefficient of the x term, which in this case just unknown variable, it is 12b. For a is a coefficient of a highest degree term, which is b squared. So we can write it down again. By subtracting 35 to the both sides, we get minus b squared, then positive 12b minus 35, and that is equal to 0. We could have just factored it out here, but if you look at our leading coefficient, if the leading coefficient is not equal to 1, it is hard to factor. So in order to remove this negative, all you have to do is divide both sides by negative 1. If you divide negative 1, we can write that in the step 9. Negative b squared divided by negative 1, Negative turning to positive, it will going to be b squared divided by 1, which is just b squared. Positive 12b divided by negative 1, it will turn to negative, and then 12b divided by 1, it is 12b. And for the last one, negative 35 divided by negative 1, negative turning to positive, which will turn into positive 35. And that is equal to 0. And then we can factor it out into a binomial. So according to a binomial theorem, there will be a two-nomial. It will going to be b times b, which makes b squared. And if you think about in terms of the unknown quantity that I'm pointing out, if you multiply together, we're going to get 35. And if we add it, we're going to get 12. So we can think about in terms of the 35 factor, which is 1 times 35 or 5 times 7. But the midterm is negative, which means one of them is negative or both are negative. But if we multiply, we need to get positive, which means negative times negative gives positive. And if we add those numbers, we need to get 12, negative 12. But negative 1 plus negative 35 is equal to negative 36, which is not equal to negative 12. But for negative 5 and the negative 7, if we add it, it gives us negative 12. So we can input our values to our factors, which will going to be at first negative 5, so negative 5, and then negative 7. And that is equal to 0, which means this term is equal to 0, or this term is equal to 0. So we'll be in the step 10, that b minus 5 is equal to 0, or b minus 7 is equal to 0. We can add 5 to the both sides, we get b is equal to 5. Or if we add 7 to the both sides, we get b is equal to 7. And we got a number, we got a possible values of b, which are 5 and a 7. We can input our values to our original equation, which is a is equal to 12 minus b. So a is equal to 12 minus b. There will be two cases. At first, when b is equal to 5, it will going to be 12. So a is equal to 12 minus 5, which will going to be 7. And for the second one, it will going to be when b is equal to 7, then a will going to be 12 minus 7, which is 5. These are two possible values of b, but it is same value with b. So there will be two possibilities of the quadratic one. So I'll write in the step 11. It is that ax minus 7 times bx plus 9, and that is equal to 35x squared plus yx minus 63. There will be two cases. At first, when a is equal to 7 and then b is equal to 5, it will going to be at first, so 7x minus 7 times 5x plus 9, and then 7 values from the a, and then not 5 values from b. And then if you multiply together, we need to see the y value, but not x term, because we already know that it will going to give us x squared. It is wasting time. We can multiply x terms and just say constant term, which will going to be 7x times 9, 63x, negative 7 times 5x, negative 35x, which is equal to 28x, but we're trying to find the value of y, which is 28. And for the second way, for the second step, it is a case when A is equal to 5 and then B is equal to 7. So it will going to be 5x minus 7 times 7x. So 7x plus 9. And then 5x times 9 is 45x. Then minus 7 times 7x is negative 49x, which we're going to give us negative 4x, but the adjusted y value is negative 4. So we can see that our value of y, it is equal to 28 and then negative 4, which in this case, number 1 is our solution. We always have to remember that it is the question about the quadratic and the binomials relationship. Also, we need to always remember that if there are at least two unknown variables, we need at least two equations.